Well, folks, it is 8:30. The meeting has not started yet. Carl Chan hasn't even been sworn in. Folks, it is 8:30. The meeting has not started yet.
Good morning. Betsy Lake is on.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Andrew. Good morning. Who's the phone number? 510-920-4397.
Hey, Erin, it's me, Melissa Wilk. I was just having trouble with my computer connection, but I'm trying again. So.
Okay, no problem. Thanks,
Erin. Yeah.
Good morning. Good to hear you. And if needed, we can hear you fine on the phone. So if that's working, that's fine. I think our chair isn't here. Should we text our chair to ask him if he's coming, or has he mentioned to you if he's coming or not?
He has confirmed yes. And I had mentioned before we opened the meeting for recording, which I think we've now done, that we have two commissioners who are really, really helping us out this morning because they have major commitments. And so I want to get to the action items first while we have a quorum. And I'm going to be suggesting that we reorder the agenda. If you, Madam Vice Chair, would hold for maybe another couple of minutes, and if we have a quorum, Madam Secretary, then maybe we should start.
We have five board members.
Could we hold, Madam Vice Chair, just for a couple of minutes for the chair, and if he is not on by then, we should, at my suggestion, we should start the meeting.
Absolutely. Good morning, everybody. Happy New Year. Good to
Happy New Year indeed.
back together with you all as we undertake our important collaboration.
Commissioner Thompson, good morning, and Commissioner Hallberg.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning indeed.
Good morning.
Madam Vice Chair, now that we do have a quorum, maybe we can start and get through the the items that require action, including calling the meeting to order and establishing that we have a quorum and approving the minutes.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Oakland-Alameda County Coliseum.
Recording in progress.
Okay, now that we are on, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Oakland-Alameda County Coliseum Authority Board. Happy New Year. It is a pleasure to see you all as we continue the important work to uplift our community. And so we may commence the meeting with the roll call.
Good morning. So I will take the roll. Vice Chair Kaplan.
Here.
Commissioner Reed.
Here. Good morning.
Commissioner Hallberg.
Here.
Commissioner Hill. Commissioner Hill.
She was on. Maybe she's on mute.
I see her icon present. I'll move on.
Commissioner Hill is on a phone. She may need the host to unmute her.
Oh, I'm here. Sorry, I was having a trouble unmuting. I'm here, present. Sorry about that. Good morning, all.
Good morning. Thank you. Commissioner Thompson.
I am here.
Thank you. And for the record, Commissioner Burkesa, Commissioner Chan, and Chair Miley are not present.
Thank you so much for that. So just to confirm, we do have a quorum. And so with that quorum, we will now go to item 3, which is approval of minutes. To my colleagues, does anybody have any questions or comments on the minutes or a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Reed. I will second that. And seeing no questions, seeing no hands in the queue, we may call the roll on the motion to approve the minutes.
All right. Vice Chair Kaplan,
Aye.
Commissioner Hobart,
Aye.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Commissioner Reed,
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson.
Aye.
It's 5 ayes.
With that, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, with your permission, could we move to item 5, because I have 2 items under item 5 that connect with item 6, which is the resolution.
I'm fine with that, but given that some people said they have to leave soon, and item 6 is the one that requires the vote, would you like us to go to item 6?
No.
Okay.
because item 5 says the
Because
state.
you'll need to
Item 6.
understand them. Yeah.
I will be brief. Because
Absolutely.
I have 2 items under Executive Director's report that go directly to why I'm recommending you approve this resolution. We have 3 capital improvement projects that need to be undertaken in the near future, like starting next year. The first and the most costly is we need a new roof for the arena. The roof on the arena has reached its useful life, and we've had lots of patching and repairs, and we're probably spending good money for bad results. And so we need to find a financing mechanism to deal with that. The second is we have a leakage in the plaza area. There's water intrusion, and I think that some of that is leaking over Nicole's head or desk. And so that's an issue that needs to be addressed. Obviously, the intrusion is also causing damage to the structure. And the third is an ice plant refrigeration replacement, and that's mainly to accommodate events like Disney on Ice at the arena. That cost us approximately $1.2 million. Now, because we haven't had much of any activity for the last 18 months, our revenue streams are greatly reduced. And over time, we would generally have been setting aside some money to address some of this, but that has not been possible. What we have been looking at is whether or not there are other ways to raise funds to meet these capital improvement needs. And so for the last 2 months or so, the staff and I and outside consultants have been exploring the possibility of refunding the current outstanding bonds on the stadium. And we believe that by doing that, 3 things would happen. One is we could generate net revenues after all of the cost of issuance, after we paid everybody, of approximately $2.5 million. By doing that, we do not extend the maturity on the current outstanding bonds. They mature on February 1st, 2025, exactly as they're scheduled to now. This refunding would not increase any financial burden on the city and the county. They wouldn't contribute $1 more than they contribute right now towards the debt service. There are no issues with respect to the A's. This doesn't affect the A's in any way. And I at least think, and I think the staff would agree, all the people who've been working on it, that it is a wise idea to do this refunding and generate approximately $2.5 million, which would allow us to do 1, replace the roof on the arena, and address the water intrusion in the plaza area. and may leave some money left to start addressing this ice plant refrigeration. So that's what leads then to item 6. Item 6, I am recommending that you approve a resolution that would have us enter into engagement agreements with ORRICK, HERRINGTON, SUTCLIFFE as bond counsel. We may or may not need disclosure counsel, but we have that on there anyway. Curls, BARTLING, depending upon which structure we finally pursue. And then K&N is a public finance agency, financial advisor, to advise us on the transaction. So item 6 would authorize me to enter into engagement commitments with 3 of these organizations that I have listed, and it would allow for the beginning of the work for the 2012 refunding Series A of the outstanding debt on the stadium. With that, Madam Vice Chair, I'd be happy to address any questions that you have. 1, about the capital improvement needs that I addressed, and 2, if you have any questions about our pursuing this refunding.
Thank you so much, Mr. Executive Director. And just before we go on with the content discussion, I did want to note that the agenda packet appears to be missing from JPA's website. So the packet that you are presenting to us does not appear to be available for the public. So Mr. Executive Director, if you or your team could put the link in the chat where that is posted, because it's not in the usual place under the meeting dates on the website. The agenda packet appears to have not been uploaded.
I don't know if our executive assistant is on the call, but I will send her a note right now.
Thank you so much. And just while they're working on that, I would note that it appears in the Zoom that our chairperson, Commissioner and Supervisor Miley, appears to have joined us. So let me just double check if he is in fact on the line and would like to chair henceforth. Good morning, Supervisor. Can you hear us?
Yes, good morning. I had a little trouble getting on, but I'm comfortable with you continuing, so thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir, and thank you for being here. So we would just note for the record that he is in fact present, in addition to the 5 already here. And with that, I see the hand raised of Commissioner Hill. Good morning, Commissioner Hill. You have the floor.
Yes, good morning. Thank you, Mr. Gardner. That was a very helpful explanation of your thinking. I just had one question, which is, it seems obvious that we need to do some repairs and we need funds to provide for those repairs. I'm wondering if you considered and rejected any alternatives to the bond issuance. Was there anything else that you explored before determining that the bond issuance was the best road forward?
Well, 2 things. Very good. Thank you very much. I did consider, as we need to address these, possibly recommending that we take funds from our reserve funds to address particularly the roof, because I think that is the one that presents us with the greatest challenges in terms of preserving the physical plant without further deterioration. When the issue of refunding the bonds came, and incidentally, I really wish I could take credit for that, but I cannot. When I first went out to the Coliseum, I took a look at the outstanding debt for both the arena and the stadium. And I concluded that a refunding, 1 for the arena probably wasn't even possible. And 2, I concluded, this was a very cursory review, that there was not enough time left to refund the bonds on the stadium, because of cost of issuance. My initial judgment would probably wipe out any real savings. It was through a former colleague who asked me about that debt. And I said what I just said to you, that I looked at it. And the person said, well, I'm not sure. I'd like to take a look at it. He did. And when he did, I took a look at it and I thought, well, he estimated that there would probably be a net savings of about $2 million if we refunded this debt. And then I started talking to the FA firm, KNN. They did a more detailed analysis, and they said, well, that is right, but there's probably more net savings than was initially estimated. So then that's what got my attention. And my conclusion is, I don't see any reason, quite frankly, not to refund the debt. Because again, it doesn't expose the city or county to anything that they aren't currently required to pay. There's no additional burden on the city or county, and financially in any respect. It does not extend the maturity on the debt. It will still mature on February 1st, 2025, just as it is today. And so given that, I have not come up with a good reason not to do it. And quite frankly, you're not obligated to spend the net savings on these capital improvements. That's one of the things that I'm recommending. We'll get to that point if we pursue the financing. But quite frankly, there are no constraints on how the JPA or the city or the county spend these savings. So what I see is that if we don't do it, we're leaving good money on the table at no risk. By doing this, there's no risk to the JPA, the city, or the county.
Thank you so much, Mr. Executive Director, and for putting the work into this and all you do to keep this agency as financially healthy as possible. And I do think it's important also for members of the public who are listening to know that this is not a new bond issuance, in the sense that this is not taking on debt that we did not have. This is essentially a refinance of the existing bonds. And Mr. Executive Director, just to be clear, we're not increasing the amount.
Not at all.
Being borrowed. So this is not like I have a mortgage on my house and I'm going to refinance it to take out an extra amount of money to pay for repairs. This is rather, we're simply refinancing the same amount, but because of the favorable interest rates in the current environment, we would then have savings that would allow us to have wiggle room to then use those savings for repairs or for other things, as this board may direct at a future meeting, without taking on any additional debt. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct.
And, you know, just for those following who may not follow the up and down of the Fed and the Open Market Committee and the financial markets, that the low interest rates are a particular feature of this current moment that it may behoove us to take advantage of before they go away. So hence the need to do it timely. And I would just add, sir, thank you for pointing out that even that the savings are even after covering the costs of issuance. So I just wanted to support that the full costs of the issuance will be covered within this. So nobody will be left holding the bag on costs related to the issuance.
That is also correct. I should also point out, what is before you today is not to approve the refunding. It is to approve the resolution so I can engage these 3 consulting firms to work with us to put the structure together. We'll have to come back at a regular meeting and formally present the resolution to refund this debt.
Thank you so much. And I would just note that, well, the city attorney can speak to this if she wishes to, but the city attorney has advised that there will need to be a vote of the city council prior to the vote of this body that actually authorizes the issuance. So we don't need one prior to today's vote, since this is just to bring on the personnel to help us analyze this. But prior to the vote to actually do the issuance, that we would need a council vote. And so we want to make sure that the timeline of the plan for that meeting would allow for that.
And we're putting that schedule together for both the city, and if the county needs to take any action in the intervening period, we'll make sure that that is folded into the schedule. Because as you mentioned earlier, if this all works like we are 99% confident that it's going to work, we don't want to really move past November or December to have all of our ducks lined up, because as you know, the market can move.
Absolutely. No, thank you for this. I think this is an excellent recommendation. So just before I call for public comment on this item, we'll go back to any other comments or questions from commissioners. So I do see Commissioner Hill, your hand up.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Gardner, I wanted to know who specifically at ORRICK, HERRINGTON, SUTCLIFFE you would be retaining to advise you on this issue.
There are two people that have joined us in our early conversation. First of all, we have not engaged any of these people, and that's the reason this is on the agenda. The two people from ORRICK are Mary Collins and John Palmer.
Okay, excellent. I'm very familiar with ORRICK's public finance group. They're excellent. John Palmer in particular is very good. So well done. Thank you.
Thank you. And so any other questions or comments from commissioners? And of course, you can see if you have any while we hear the public speaker. So this is the opportunity for members of the public who want to speak on this item to so indicate by raising your hand in the Zoom, click raise hand or *9 on a phone. I see one hand from one member of the public. Mr. Zenny Abraham, welcome. Good morning. If we could please enable his speaking, and we will give him his 2 minutes.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. Hope you're well and healthy. Great to see everybody, or that I can see. Hey, one concern through the chair about the teams that are mentioned. Did anyone, or Henry, did you mind just to actually look at, and I know you can't respond, I don't know, but the racial composition of the teams in total? Because, for example, the organization in Berkeley that you want to focus on the financial aspects has 14 people working for them, according to LinkedIn. One is at a minor level as African American, and that's it. And it seems to be, and overall, what I'm chafing about is a kind of a whites only consulting pattern that's going on with economic development, and it seems to be seeping in here, and perhaps, hopefully unintentionally. And if someone mentions Proposition 209, in Howard case of Howard Terminal, the person over that was actively told to find a black consultant but couldn't. So 209 basically has been taken off the table for all practical purposes. And if you read it, it calls for a balanced, racial composition of people working that don't represent any one color or race, and that's not the case. Thank you.
Madam Vice Chair, I
Yes.
can respond.
Yes, please do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Abraham, and very good questions and comments. That is something that I always look at. And the team that is before you for approval, depending upon what structure we use, might be different. But when we put our thinking together, we obviously need bond counsel, need a financial advisor, and we also, depending upon what structure we use, and our earlier thought was that we would also need disclosure counsel. Curls Bartling is an African-American firm. ORRICK, HERRINGTON, SUTCLIFFE is not. I should point out, though, John Palmer, who is taking somewhat of the lead on this for bond counsel, is a minority. And one of the persons who's working for K&N on this, Larry Lom, is also a minority. I don't know the composition, the racial composition of these firms other than Bartling. But those are the principals who are working with us right now.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I believe the speaker is complete. So Director Roseman, are you having the hosting capabilities? Okay. I see no other public speaker hands up. So at this point, we would come back to the board for any additional questions, or if there is a motion on item 6. Is that correct, Madam Director? Do you need to formally read in item 6?
Yes, I need to formally read in item 6.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll move approval, Halbert.
Awesome. We'll just let Director Roseman formally read the title, and then we'll do that. Okay, go ahead, Director Roseman.
Resolution authorizing the retention of ORRICK, HERRINGTON, and SUTCLIFFE LLP as bond counsel, Curls BARTLING PC as disclosure counsel, and K&N Public Finance LLC as financial advisor to the Oakland-ALAMEDA County Coliseum Authority for the 2021 refunding of the Oakland-ALAMEDA County Coliseum Authority lease revenue bonds 2012 refunding series A.
Thank you. And now, Commissioner Halbert, you may.
So moved.
Excellent. And Commissioner Miley, I see you on the line. Do you want to say something? Okay. I believe that was second.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, so we have a motion by Halbert, second by Miley. Seeing no other hands in the queue, you may call the roll.
Vice Chair Kaplan,
Aye.
Commissioner Hobart,
Aye.
Commissioner Hill,
Aye.
Commissioner Thompson,
Aye.
Commissioner Chair Miley. That is 6 ayes.
I will add my eyes.
Oh, I'm sorry, and Commissioner Reed, I apologize.
Thank you.
That makes 6 ayes.
Thank you so much. So that item passes unanimously. And thank you to Henry Gardner and your team for pulling this together for us and undertaking to save public dollars. So good and important work. And then with that, I realize on item 5, we sort of jumped directly from the executive director report to the item 6. So Mr. Gardner, was there more to item 5?
Just one item quickly, and it is the agreement that we have with Levy for the reopening for food and beverage services. When you approved the contract with Levy, we put in, and that was based on discussions that I had with Jeff Weinman, that we were not prepared to commit to more than $75,000 for the repairs, cleaning, and equipment. Well, since they've been in there, several things have happened, and those costs are exceeding the $75,000. I have a follow-up meeting with Weinman. We're setting that up now to talk about some of these costs. Some of this that exceeds the $75,000 was not anticipated by either Levy or us or ASN. And a chunk of it is a result of the county health department. I'm not blaming them, they did their job. They came in and did an inspection and they said, oh, no, you've got to fix this, you've got to repair that. And those things are really on us. So that's the part I want to go back and have a conversation with Wyman about, because I will support the things that Department of Health pointed out that, these are really on the landlord. But there are some other things in there that I am saying are not on the landlord. So we have to have some discussion about that. I will come back and let you know what the final tally is. But so far, if we can hold it within the amount that I have in this report, I think that we can address that through our current budget that we've set aside for repairs and items like this, which would have happened anyway. So just wanted to alert you to that right now we're exceeding that $75,000. There's no action that I'm asking for now. I'll come back at the next meeting and tell you where we end up with that.
Thank you so much. And we have a question from Commissioner Halbert.
Yes, I just would like to say or ask the question, what do we think about the decision by county health, and do we agree that indeed the operator has not fully complied, or have we peer reviewed the decision, or are these clearly obviously things that they missed, or is this a really strict interpretation of what needs to be done? Two things. One is the county health department did its job.
They came in and inspected the place, and the things that I'm saying that really fall on us, they're what I would call the landlord's obligations. For example, one of them, they said that the flooring, which, you know, we really can't put that on Levy. This flooring needs to be repaired or replaced underneath some of this equipment. That's on us. There may have been, I think, in that some electrical issues coming into the place. That would be on us. So I would say that for what, and I can bring that back to you, what the Department of Health pointed out, we agree that those things need to be addressed.
Very good. Thank you. I'm glad to hear they're doing their job the right way. Much appreciated.
Thank you so much. Are there any other questions or comments from commissioners on this item? And so I see no hands from commissioners or the public at this time on this item, and this item does not require a vote as there is no action here. And so given that, and we are hearing the grandfather clock, I believe, from Mr.
I'm sorry. It's letting the people know who have to leave early that it's time for you to sign off.
It is now 9 o'clock. And so let me ask, do we have a closed session today?
We do not.
And so I believe that then will bring us to the conclusion with an opportunity for any last comments or questions. And also, Mr. Garner, if we could announce when our next meeting is?
Your next regularly scheduled meeting is the 3rd Friday in October, and I believe that date is the 15th, October 15th.
Is there a general manager report today?
Oh, I'm sorry, I beg your pardon. Is Nicole on?
Yes.
Yes,
We're running
Nicole's
right
on.
past her. Okay.
So let us go to the general manager.
Thank you,
report.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, thank you to Chair Miley. And Nicole, you have the floor.
Good morning. Thank you. One thing that has been unfolding in the last 24 hours that I wanted to bring to this group's attention is we are at risk of losing our Los Spookies 2 stadium shows on October 1st and October 2nd. In the past, OPD has had the approval for the applications of the sound permits, and that is transitioning over to the city. In the past, we have always been granted an 11 p.m. sound application permit. The city is pushing back, saying we can't go past 10 p.m. The show is highly considering canceling if we can't go until 11 p.m. So I'm reaching out to this group to see if there's any assistance that we can get. All of our shows in the past have been granted approval to go to 11 p.m. inside the stadium. The parking lot is different. The parking lot is a hard 10 p.m., but inside the stadium, it's always been 11 p.m. because there are sound mitigation already set up inside the stadium. Just like when the A's have fireworks nights, their games go past 10 p.m. and they have fireworks. So I'm really hoping that this group can help us get to 11 p.m. on October 1st and October 2nd. And this is extremely time sensitive. So I'm hoping.
Thank you so much. So before we have you share about any other things, thank you so much for all your work and for making sure to bring to our attention this time sensitive matter. I will affirm that these types of things have historically been allowed to go to 11 p.m. And fortunately, we do have from our city administrator, Betsy Lake, on the line. So Betsy, good morning. I'm going to call on you to see if we can't get this resolved. This has normally been 11 p.m. I don't know if there's just some confusion with changeover of new personnel, but Administrator Lake.
Yes, thanks for bringing it to my attention, and I'm already writing an email to Greg Minor to figure this out.
Thank you so much. And before we get off the meeting, I want to make sure that Nicole Strange and Betsy Lake have each other's direct contact info because this does need to be resolved quickly. So I want to make sure you all, you can, I guess, put in the chat to each other or something, because I do want to just speak in support of, you know, we should let this happen, and they do have experience having this successfully till 11 p.m.
Vice Chair, I absolutely will be on the phone with Ms. Strange and Ms. Lake as soon as we conclude this meeting.
And is there any direction or authorization you would need from this board that would help with that? Or this is at this point just a matter of the staff to staff working it out?
I think give us a chance to work it out. I was not aware of it, and I don't know what the basis of the change would be. But I think we can work it out. If we can't, you will be hearing from me forthwith.
Yes, I believe that they have a new person handling these permits who may not be as familiar with the history of this being successfully allowed till 11. So if Mr. Gardner and Administrator Lake can help share that with those personnel so they can get this resolved. And then let me go back to Nicole Strange for the rest of what you may have to share with us. And thank you for bringing this up.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, this used to be handled by OPD and it's slowly transitioning to the city. So thank you very, very much, Henry. I'll call you right after this, but just wanted to bring this to, this group's attention to get this resolved. But I will continue with my report. We are happy that today is our first show back in 18 months. We have Pepe Aguilar at the arena tonight. Extremely excited. Tonight, the COVID policies are people may self-attest that they have been vaccinated and or have had a negative COVID test in the last 72 hours. That self-attest does go away on September 20th. So our next show, Little Baby, you will actually have to show physical proof. So tonight is a little different. You can self-attest, and then next weekend you actually have to show physical proof. So also happening this weekend is the Porter Robinson Second Sky Festival. It's out in the parking lot. It will be ending by 10 p.m. That's a hard 10 p.m., which we're all aware of. So we're very excited. There'll be 22,000 people out in the parking lot each night. It's going to be a fabulous show. Some of the other added events, we have Mike Towers, October 8th, Disney on Ice, October 14th to 17th. We have our Emerge Warehouse out in the parking lot, Dead Mouse. We have System of a Down, October 18th, El Alpha, November 5th, Tiesto out in the parking lot, November 15th, Monster Jam, January 8th and 9th in the stadium, Harlem Globetrotters in the arena, January 14th and 15th, Supercross in the stadium, January 15th, Casey Musgraves, February 19th, Tyler the Creator, April 1st, J Balvin, May 1st. We've been busy and we are back. I'm so excited about tonight. It's going to be an emotional, exciting night for all of us. Some of the other events that we have had the Camp Key Tove Summer Camp. Roughly 400 kids, accompanied by their parents, had their end of the summer camp celebration by having a picnic on the field on the evening of August 13th. They were able to sing some of their camp songs and enjoy being on the field of the Coliseum. The event went well and everyone was very happy with the event. We also had a Modelo commercial shoot on the arena floor. The arena was converted into a full basketball configuration for the filming of a Modelo commercial shoot on August 14th to 16th. The commercial simulated a live game environment with over 300 extras to fill in as fans. We also have the county household hazardous waste collection. The county allowed citizens to drop off hazardous waste in our parking lot on August 15th. There was everything from batteries to mattresses, which were sorted into the proper waste receptacles. It was a successful event and was busier than previous years. I also wanted to let you guys know that the arena has been recertified, LEED recertified. So I'm pleased to announce that Oakland Arena has been awarded LEED Silver certified. In 2015, we were awarded LEED certified. This recertification period, we were able to improve our points.
Where's your Frisbee?
We were able to improve our points, which brought us up to LEED Silver. LEED, which stands for Leadership in Energy and Environment Design, is a distinguished green building certification, which measures performances in energy, conservation, water efficiency, waste diversion, human health, and transportation. I'm proud to have the ultimate green building seal of approval here at Oakland Arena. We couldn't have done it without the collective efforts of the team consistently pushing to save water and energy, continuing to divert recyclables and compostables away from the landfill and creating a healthier space for all guests to come to our complex. This is a big deal for a building. We were LEED certified and now we've gone up a notch to silver. So it's a very good deal. The next thing I wanted to make sure you guys were aware about, we have hired a vice president of sponsorship and premium sales. So as you guys know, before in the Arena, the Warriors were able to sell all suites and all sponsorship, and we have taken that over. So we've hired a gentleman named David Piazzu. He's been hired as our new VP of sponsorship and premium sales. David will help build and oversee the sponsorship and premium sales department as we look forward to rebranding and securing sponsors for the Oakland Arena and RingCentral Coliseum. David has extensive experience in sponsorship of music and sporting events throughout Northern California. In his previous position, he oversaw sponsorship and media for Northern California at Live Nation Entertainment. Does anyone have any questions?
Thank you so much. That's a fabulous report. And if we could get what the information is we should share in terms of the proper contact information to share for your new direction of sponsorships. I certainly know that I, and I think others of us, periodically get questions from people about how to sign up to sponsor or buy an empty piece of the space or whatever. So it would be great to have that information to share around to organizations and businesses who might be interested in that, and glad to hear. And we do have some commissioners' hands up. We'll go to Commissioner Halbert, followed by Commissioner Reed. Commissioner Halbert.
I just would also like to say what a great report from the general manager. Thank you. You're absolutely doing a fantastic job. I'm blown away that we are able to put the facility into such great use, not only for events and all of that, but community events like the waste. Just a great job. And I'll echo Commissioner Kaplan comments. If we could get contact information for the new sponsorship person, we may be able to help out with contacts that we get and steer them in the right direction. Thank you again.
Definitely. Thank you very much.
Excellent. And to Commissioner Treva Reed.
Yes, thank you. I ditto and echo, great report. And also wanted to congratulate us on our LEED certification. That's huge, particularly as a former Stop Waste board member. It's exciting to hear that we have attained such an incredible certification, and a lot of work went into meeting those standards. And congratulations to David. We look forward to how his new leadership and expertise will help us in the areas that you uplifted. I wanted to just confirm, I'm not as clear on what our protocols are for those who will self-attest for the upcoming event. COVID still continues to certainly be a concern for me and our community, even with the great efforts that our county are progressing on. Can you share more about the protocol inside and what that experience will be for those who come and are self-attesting to their vaccination status? Are the seatings on the floor spread out differently? Are there floor monitors of any sort? I'm not sure how you monitor within the venue, and other precautions that may be taken for those who are attending.
Yes, great question. So for tonight, for Pepe Aguilar, all attendees of the event inside Oakland Arena must be fully vaccinated or have a negative COVID test in the last 72 hours. We will have signage all over the property with big A-frames saying that you have to have been vaccinated, you have to be self-attesting that you've been vaccinated or have a negative COVID test within the last 72 hours. You also do have to wear a mask the entire time you are inside the arena, unless you are eating or drinking. So we will be patrolling that very heavily. Like I said, tonight is the the only event where you are permitted to self-attest, and we're following the California Department of Public Health guidelines along with the county's health guidelines. And like I said, next week, our little baby show, you actually have to show physical proof that you are vaccinated or have a negative COVID test in the last 72 hours. But like I said, everybody, regardless of vaccination status, you do have to wear a mask inside. We are permitted to be full capacity. Tonight there, I believe, are between 8,000 and 9,000 tickets out. So it'll be a rockin' show tonight.
Thank you. Are there temperature readers also used upon entry?
No, that is not a requirement of the county or the state for mega events.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, go ahead.
I'll withhold that statement.
I mean, I do want to say I share the concern, and Mr. Gardner, you look like you were getting ready to say something about that. How do you feel about our sort of safety protocol situation?
Well, I share the concerns that Commissioner Reed raised. I would say, though, that we are in full compliance with these protocols, with both the county health department and with the state. And so and requiring that people, that was the one question I was going to have, whether or not we're requiring people to have masks on and keep them on during the entire show, except when they're eating and drinking, and that we're doing sufficient monitoring of that. And I guess my concern is lessened with that. And then for our next show, self-attesting is not going to work. You're going to have to show proof that you've been vaccinated or that you've had a negative test within the last 72 hours. The honor system will go away.
Thank you for that. And I do think it's worth considering, and we can certainly follow up with this at the next meeting, the question of our role in offering additional vaccinations. You know, I would remind us, of course, that we were the center of the largest, the first, and perhaps the most effective in terms of vaccinations facility here at, not only here physically at the Coliseum site, but also the community-based mobile sites that we fought so hard for with our state partners and others to provide. And so are we exploring yet the possibility of, again, helping out with vaccinations, as both the people who, you know, did not receive it the first time and the people who will be seeking, you know, another dose will be coming up?
I have not had any further contact with the county health department subsequent to our last mass vaccination ad hoc committee forum. And, you know, we can have that conversation maybe with our chair, Chairperson Nate Miley, and you and I about when and how and what that might look like.
Excellent. That sounds like a good idea. Chair Miley, did you have any thoughts or suggestions on that, or want to ponder that and come back at a later time?
Yeah, excuse me. Yes, let me ponder it. Back with you.
Excellent. Okay. Thank you all, and really thank you to the whole team for your incredible work with all of the ups and downs and changes that we've been dealing with and getting so much done, including the lead status. So that is also good news. So thank you for that. I do see we have one public speaker. So I will go to the public speaker, Mr. Zenny Abraham, and if you all could unmute him, and we'll give him his 2 minutes.
Hey, I apologize. I was waiting for open forum, and not only that, I owe Ms. Strange a document regarding COVID and air, and I've been so caught up in growing my company, I dropped the ball, so I have nothing to say on that one. Sorry. I'll catch up.
Okay, so you're wanting to be called again at the end?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, will do.
Thank you.
Okay, colleagues, any other things from staff or board members? I see no hands in the queue, and so that means we are now ready, since there is no closed session, to take the open forum speaker, and so we'll go back to Zenny and have his comments.
Thank you very much. In 1996, we had a business plan that was written by Ezra Rapport for the Joint Powers Authority. And since then, that business plan has never been re-reviewed or updated. And I believe it's time that we do that, if only to form a way forward for this public corporation and really hone and refine what we can and cannot do. For example, Henry, you pointed to the need for money to fix the roof. And if the JPA were more of a developer and were able to, for example, activate Assembly Bill 464, basically tax increment financing for businesses, all right? There's no prohibition against the Coliseum being involved in that in some way. That could be a way to solve it. The point I'm making is that we've never really identified and treated the authority as a development organization that can raise its money to build, for example, stadiums and arenas. While I'm at it, by the way, if Carl Chan's not going to come and he hasn't been sworn in, put me in, because you know I'm ready to play. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. The vacant seat is one of the seats that is appointed by the County Board of Supervisors with guidance from a certain outside interested party. So I will convey your request to them that we have an applicant who is ready to serve and show up. So thank you for that, Zenny.
You got it.
And back to my colleagues, any final comments, announcements, or requests for future items before we close?
Vice Chair Kaplan, I would like to announce that the board packet is on the website now for everyone's viewing.
Thank you so much. And so that means it's now in the normal place you would find it, on the page of the Coliseum Authority webpage that lists the meeting dates.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thanks for getting that handled and fixed. Mr. Gardner, anything else you'd like to add as we complete?
I have no further comments. Thank you very much all for being present today.
Thank you all so much. It's a pleasure to be with all of you, as this is how I am launching the celebrating of my birthday. So thank you for having a fun way to start.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday.
Wow. Now I am extra blessed. I have been sung up by my pastor and my colleague neighbor. So we are going to start the day well blessed and uplifted. Good to be with you all and to talk about some of the good successes we are having in our work here and movement forward. So thank you all for that. And with that, this meeting is adjourned. Have a lovely rest of your day.
Thank you.
Recording stopped.
Well, folks, that ends the meeting. And as you heard, it was a basic, how do I say this? It was a basic, hey, Corey, how you doing? Hey, John. It was a basic business meeting. And I think the reason why we need a business plan is that, look, you heard it, okay? The Coliseum, I mean, it's quite obvious by sort of lack of energy in the room. And not only that, Carl Chan, who's the head of the Chinatown Chamber of Commerce, hasn't been sworn in. He hasn't shown up to a single meeting, okay? And it's not like he called in and said, hey, I can't make it. They call him and he doesn't respond. And this kind of disrespect for an organization that's responsible for the multi-billion-dollar facility that is the Oakland-Alameda County Coliseum should not be allowed. And that's why I said, hey, put me in, right? Now, having said all that, I have to bring out some things here. Like John Marks said, JPA isn't. That's not true. They do run the facility. And Henry Gardner is a top flight public manager who is still to this day Oakland's most revered public employee ever. Okay. And I may look, just because I might disagree with this or that doesn't mean I disagree with them as people. They're my friends. We all care about the city and we all care about what happens. We just have different ways of getting to it, but we care. That said, John Marks says good success. No, there have been a lot of problems and losses. And look, Henry lost the Oakland Panthers to San Jose, for example. That should not have happened. But I think the organization just needs help. Okay. And that's why I wanted to jump in as a board member. And it would mean me not obviously blogging about the meetings or anything. But I mean, I could have an idea or something, but that's their call, right? This is why I want to be on the board, because I would like to help change that status. John says, will they get help? I don't know, but I do think this is the time. We're in the middle of a pandemic to ask, hey, where are we going? What's our future? How do we get there? We need a plan. And like I said, we haven't had a business plan in earnest since Ezra put together one that I still have a copy of back in Oakland in 1996. And the problem, that's the difference between what we have now and what we have had prior to the return of the Raiders to Oakland in 95. And then the reorganized JPA was a JPA that was staffed by private sector individuals. George Rucassen Sr., of which George Rucassen Jr. is on the current board, who was the head of Peerless Coffee, was the president. And then we had many other business luminaries in Oakland, Mary Morin, for example, and who I dearly miss, and Ed De Silva, who played a key role in working with Al Davis. We had some great heavy hitters on that board from the private sector. I think they didn't like the city council didn't like that. From their I'm not saying he did this, but this was their perspective, that Rucassen sort of thumbed his nose at giving them a constant reporting schedule, right? And that was one big reason, aside from the bond issue itself, for the reorganization. And it was nasty. It was so nasty that that to this day, if he were alive, George Rucassen would want to have nothing to do with the Coliseum. He didn't want to get involved in the Super Bowl, because I begged him to help me on it. He had just checked out. Okay. So after that, the Coliseum essentially went from a privately ran public organization to a publicly ran public organization. And that's the fundamental difference. Now, has it been over politicized? Do bears live in the woods? But that's beside the point. You can have a public organization that has a plan as long as it has enough money to implement the plan. My argument is the Coliseum Joint Powers Authority right now does not have enough money to implement its own plan, let alone fix its roof. I mean, that's the state of affairs, okay? It could borrow money from the city if the city had money to, hey, you know what? I just figured out something. The infrastructure bill might, and I'll share this with Henry. I think the infrastructure bill could offer some relief. And I'll reach out on that. I think the infrastructure bill could provide some relief, you know? John says, with you on the board, success will be there. If they want me, you know, I'd be a remote player, but hey, look, it's easy to get on and be in a meeting with today's technology. It's easy to get involved anywhere in the world under today's technology. It's a beautiful time to be alive. It really is. And I still have my place. If someone says, well, you still live in Oakland? Yeah, I still have my place in Adams Point. And a friend of mine is caretaking it and cleaning up for me. Not living there, you know, but can't do that. Well, I got that covered nonetheless. Can the A's be said with you on the Coliseum board? No. All right, as far as no. I cannot save the athletics by being on the Coliseum board. For one thing, the athletics would have to want to be at the Coliseum. They're either trying to build a Howard Terminal or they're trying to go to Las Vegas, which I believe is more the interest of Major League Baseball than Dave Kaval. Dave is quite literally at this point kind of like this. He's got Bob Manfred pulling his string this way, and he's got John Fisher pulling the other string this way. So he's kind of going like that, okay? And that's the best way to think about Dave Kaval's role in this as president. He's doing their bidding. He is not a free agent. I say that because there's some people who like to get on social media and write exclusively about Kaval as if he is a free agent who can do anything he wants to. He can't. He'd get fired, and his wife would kill him because he used all that money to put together his kids' college tuition for the future. Not a good situation. So bottom line is that's not happening. And do I believe the A's are on their way to Las Vegas? As it looks, I can't see anything that we're doing to give them comfort. Now, the beauty of all of this I'm talking about just out there is time. There's been a lot of time and a lot of meetings untold that have happened and communications that have happened since the design review committee even, which went well, I thought. And at this point, I think the real call regarding the future of the athletics will be related to how Major League Baseball and the athletics respond from a revenue perspective to the COVID situation. Remember, the athletics lost $40 million last year, $40 million. That's a huge chunk of change. They didn't come out of this unscathed. And I tell you, folks, get your vaccines, okay? I'm already on my second dose. Get vaccinated, get your immune system boosted, all right? But do I believe that the athletics would be, saved by my involvement in this? No, not in that way. Do I think they can be helped in some other way because of my relationships? Perhaps. Perhaps. But if they put me on the board, I'm not a free agent. That's not the idea. We've had a number of people on the board for different reasons. We remember Aaron Goodwin was on there, the famed sports agent of LeBron James. We have the current Uber, I believe, attorney in Ms. Hill. We've had Councilman Lauren Taylor was on it. Rebecca Kaplan's on it currently. We've have from the private sector, my buddy Chris Dobbins was on it for some time, and very effective. You know, I love Chris as a person, love him, and love him as a board member too. There was no equivocation. There wasn't like a but. Okay, Chris Dobbins is a great guy. De La Fuente, you know, we've had a lot of great people involved with the Coliseum over the years, and I would be in their shadows. You know, I'm not. That doesn't. But it doesn't mean that I don't have something to bring to the table, and they all know what that is. My knowledge of how Oakland works, tax increment financing, government, law, the Coliseum, my history of the Coliseum, which is several decades. My formation of the bid that almost brought the Super Bowl to Oakland at the Coliseum. Okay, no one else has that distinction, and no one else will have that distinction in this life or the next. Why? Because the NFL right now is not in Oakland. That's why. Unless the NFL decides it wants to go to neutral cities or something like that, which is not happening. Primarily because the owners like the idea of having Super Bowls in the host city because it helps the host city, which helps them with politics, among other things. So there you go. The roof situation and the money to fix the roof is a big concern. That's huge. So let's all help the Coliseum figure out a way to solve that problem, okay? Henry seems to think that bond refinancing will net him the money, and I don't doubt that. But $2 million, it strikes me as, at the margins, okay, and no more. Anyway, it's 12:36 p.m. Eastern. It's Friday. Live long and prosper in your world. Subscribe to Zenny62 and bookmark OaklandNewsNow.com. We'll be back later with more. That ends this broadcast. Thank you. Oh, by the way, I'll have the agenda for this posted at OaklandNewsNow.com momentarily. When I mean the agenda, the board report that wasn't on the website, which now it is. Thank you. Thanks to Councilmember Kaplan. All right. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you.